initial protocols that were developed typically for the noiseless channel. Noiseless channel is supposed to be the ideal channel where no errors are occurring. The entire communication is typically in between the two parties. The two parties are communicating with each other. This communication associated with the data provides certain rules, the rules that can govern the initial connection which is being set up, the type of dividing the data into specified number of frames. Then it also provides us the translation, the specific translation in between station 1 and station 2. This station 1 and station 2 actually provides us a specified line discipline or a media discipline, which is the functionality of the data link layer, which provides coordination among the various link systems, which determines which device can send, when the data is to be sent, based on the availability of the communication media. Whenever we are typically utilizing the public communication media, which is shared by the multiple users, then that's another functioning media access control. That is the another functioning that is linked with the data link layer. The data link layer then actually provides us the translation associated with the data from one end to another end. For noiseless channel, we are utilizing the specified protocols such as the simplest protocol and stop and wait protocol. For noisy channel, which is the practical channel, the typical types of protocols that we are utilizing are the stop and wait. Last time I have told you ARQ, automatic repeat request. Stop and wait, automatic repeat request. If error occurs, then provide the intimation to the sender to retransmit those. Then another type of protocol which is a slight improvement in the stop and wait type of protocol is go back and ARQ. Then it's again a automatic repeat request. Then it's again the improvement, selective repeat automatic repeat request, ARQ type of protocol. These are the practical protocols. These were the initial protocols that were utilized for the practical channels. For the practical channels where we are saying that the noise is getting introduced, even if it's a digital type of communication, even if the error rate is very low. Typically the bit error rate is the one bit of error occurring into almost up to say 10 raised to 7 or 10 raised to 8 data bits. A single bit of error can be also detected. That is one of the greatest advantage associated with the digital communication system. But at present we can say that this particular translation associated with the data, the assumptions are we are considering a ideal channel for the noiseless type of protocol development. Here we are actually considering the noiseless channel or a ideal channel where whatever information we are dumping into the communication media is never lost, is never duplicated, is never corrupted. That's what we are actually postulating here for the noiseless channel. So this particular type of channel never exists. Noiseless channel never exists. There is no ideal channel in the data communication. But the initial protocols were based, developed considering the communication channel to be a noiseless type of channel. And the two protocols were simplest protocol and stop and wait type of protocol. The simplest protocol and the simplest protocol will have no error control or no flow control because the frames are not at all lost into the communication media. Make it very clear. Ideal channel. We started the development of the procedures for translation of the data from one end to from one node to another node, from one sender to another receiver. by considering the communication channel to be the ideal, where if the communication channel is ideal, there is no error associated with the data, there is no duplicacy of the frames that are communicated in the communication channel, and both the sender and receiver are able to process whatever amount of data that is being dumped into the communication media, and that gave rise to the specified block schematic. Here at the left hand side we have a sender. The sender data from the network layer is handed over to the data link layer. From the data link layer we are actually converting the data into number of frames, and the physical layer is interfaced with the communication media such that all those frames are communicated through the communication media towards the destination end. At the receiving end, we are receiving the data, receiving the frames at the physical layer. The frames are handed over to the data link layer, and the actual amount of data is delivered to the network layer at the receiving end. This particular formulation happens to be at the communication area, where here the sender is dumping to the data into the communication media, and over a specified time duration the data is being delivered from sender to the receiver. The algorithm at the sender end is to repeat this particular sequence based on the amount of packets that are received at the data link layer. The packets are divided into number of frames, and those number of frames are dumped into the communication media, and this procedure is repeated forever, and the data is supposed to be received at the receiving end. The notification at the data link layer is obtained from the physical layer that the data frames are arrived, and those data frames are processed and handed over to the network layer. So this will be the algorithm for receiving side. Retrieve the frames. Here all the concepts associated with ideal digital communication system will take place. There will be a proper bit synchronization. There is no error that is being introduced into the communication channel, and since there is no error and both the sender and receiver are quite capable of sending the data at the compatible speed. That means if the 10 Mbps data is sent by sender, receiver is able to process that 10 Mbps of data. The data, it means now the frames that are being dumped into the communication media in the form of zeros and ones. This is the simplest protocol. So ideally there will be no loss into the communication. But the drawback is that sender is not at all getting the information what amount of data is processed by the receiver, whether a receiver has received all the frames or not. Since we are considering the channel to be ideal channel, it's a simplex type of communication that is being taking place. Sender is continuously dumping the data into the communication media, and receiver is processing all that data that is being received through the physical layer. The physical layer consists of the specified communication media, the specified interfaces at the sender end and at the receiver end. The received frames are processed. The received frames are processed with the specified algorithm that is required for the digital communication, then hands the data towards the network layer. This is the simplest type of protocol where no flow or error control is required. But the drawback is that sender is not at all getting the information whether the data is being processed at the receiver's end. The typical algorithm wait for the specified event. If event is request to send, get the data from the network layer, make it into frames and send those frames. This is the simplest algorithm. You can use any high level language to encode this particular algorithm. Entire procedure is repeated until the entire data is transmitted from the sender end to the receiver end. You can use simple C simply by defining the typical libraries, or you can even use object oriented configuration where the specified looping can be increased up to the bandwidth that is being supported by the communication media. But the algorithm is quite simple one. The sender side algorithm is simply receive the packets from the network layer, divide that data into number of frames, make a specified frame. Make a specified frame again. We are framing that data such that there will be a starting flag, there will be source address, destination address, or the source address and the control signals, which will tell the information about how actually this particular data is converted into number of frames, then the amount of data, then it will be frame check sequence, that is for error correction. But for the ideal channel, there will be no data for the frame check sequence, so only the frames are dumped and frames are received. But frame format is provided. The frame format is provided. Making the frame and sending the frame, that is only the simple procedure that is done at the sender end, and this procedure is nothing but a protocol. Remember that procedures that we define, design at the senders and at the receivers end is nothing but the protocol. Again, the receiver side algorithm is again very simple one. Wait for the event. If event, that is the frames are arrived, that event is notified, the frames arrival is notified, then receive those frames, extract the data from the frame and deliver the data to the network layer. This will be the receiving side algorithm, that is the procedure. A software algorithm can be then very simplified. Send the data, receive the data, send the data, receive the data, and the loop will be executed forever till the amount of data at the sender's end finishes. So it's a very simplest type of algorithm. Algorithm simplified with the flow diagram. Sender A is sending the data to the receiver. The frame, the sender A divides the data into number of frames, and those frames are transmitted over a time period. The time period goes on increasing. This is the time period, and this will be the time period that is required at the receiver's end. The request to form the frame and dump the frame into the communication media. At some instant of time, the data is dumped into the communication media. At the receiving end, over a specified time, the frame arrival is identified, the frame arrival is notified, and that frame, the data is extracted from the frame and then handed over to the network layer. This is the simplest flow diagram for three frames. Three frames, sender is defining that three frames are to be transmitted. Receiver is defining the event for three frames. So arrival event, request event from the network layer to the data link layer for converting the data into frame. At the receiving end, the event will be received event or arrival event. The frame will be arrived and then handed over to the upper layer. The obvious drawback I have told you, there is no information to the sender about which or what amount of frames are received. So the simple modification in the simplest type of protocol is to acknowledge the frame, send the data, convert the data into the number of frames. The data frame is communicated through the communication channel, at the receiving end receive the frame, at the data link layer process that frame, and send the acknowledgement of that particular frame to the sender's end. And unless and until acknowledgement of the first frame is received by the sender's end, the sender will not at all dump another frame into the communication media. In case of first case, if the receiver is not at all ready, all that data that is being dumped into the communication media will be lost. But in the stop and wait protocol, for a specified frame, a acknowledgement frame is generated from the receiver, and that acknowledgement is processed at the sender's end, so that the data link layer will generate the next frame for the data that is being obtained from the sender's end. So this will be the procedure that is performed at the sender's end. Stop and wait. Dump one frame of information into the communication media, wait for acknowledgement of the frame, and that's why stop and wait. Do not dump the data unnecessarily into the communication media. Though some amount of time is lost, but the receiver will get the information that the specified frame is reached, processed at the data link layer, and acknowledgement associated with that particular frame is received at the sender's end. It will be repeated forever, but the frame must be acknowledged by the receiver, and acknowledgement frame is dumped into the communication media, and the communication media is providing this received acknowledgement to again the data link layer at the sender's end, and the sender will now generate another frame only if first frame is acknowledged, where we are actually providing the information related to the data link layer at the sender's end, the data link layer processing at the receiver's end, the frame is being communicated, acknowledgement associated with this particular frame. So the number of events will be again different at the sender's end and at the receiver's end. And based on this number of receivers, we are actually utilizing the primitives: sending of the data, receiving of the data, indication of the data. Remember, connect, disconnect, send, receive, and indicate. Here we are actually getting the indication associated with the frame that is being dumped into the communication media in the form of acknowledgement frame. And the entire procedure is repeated. But unless and until the acknowledgement of the frame that is being communicated through the channel is not received, next frame is not dumped. That is the actual proper utilization associated with the communication channel. The procedures at the sender's end and at the receiver's end are again repeated forever based on the event. The two events at the sender's end: send frame, wait for the acknowledgement. Whenever the frame is dumped into the communication media, the timer will be start. The sender will wait for that particular amount of time and will receive the acknowledgement. The acknowledgement is processed by the received frame at the physical layer, which is handed over to the data link layer. When that acknowledgement is received at the data link layer, the data link layer will fetch the data from the network layer, so that will be converted into the second frame. Then that second frame will be dumped into the communication media, and that frame will be received at the receiver's end. The receiver will generate acknowledgement for the second frame. Though the process is time consuming, but it will be an efficient type of process, so that no data will be lost into the communication media. And the entire process is repeated forever for the sender's end to the receiver's end. This gave rise to the initial duplex type of communication. In case of, if you recall, for the circuit switch network, whenever the subscriber dials, another subscriber gets the indication Another subscriber gets the indications, another subscriber lifts the handset, audio communication in the two subscriber is executed. Whenever one of the subscriber wants to terminate, the subscriber will put on the handset on the cradle so that the disconnection of the data will be occurred. Till that process, the entire procedure is executed. So here we are actually considering all the advantages associated with the circuit switched network, but we are sending the packet, but that particular packet will be efficiently delivered to the destination. And that's the importance associated with this stop and wait protocol. Unless and until acknowledgement of the frame is not received, new frame will not at all be dumped into the communication. I think I will take the questions. A simplest formulation. Simplest formulation associated with the data. Flow control. Put your queries in the chat box. Simplex and stop and wait protocol. The simplest protocol, you can call it as a unidirectional protocol. Unidirectional flow of data from sender to the receiver. But stop and wait protocol, the we are assuming here the communication channel to be error free. The sender simply sends the data and waits for the acknowledgement from the receiver. That's why it's called as a stop and wait protocol. This type is not so much efficient, but it is the simplest way of flow control. One frame processed, acknowledged, then only another frame will be generated. In this scheme, we actually take the communication channel as error free, remember. But if the channel has some errors, then the receiver is not able to get correct data from the sender. So it will not at all be possible for sender to send the next data, because it will not at all get the acknowledgement from the receiver. So it will end the communication. And in order to solve this particular problem, there are two new concepts that were introduced in the development associated with the protocol, and that was introduction of the timer. If sender was not able to get acknowledgement in the particular time, then the sender resends that data. Sender buffers the data into its scratchpad memory, sends the data if it's not received within the specified time duration. That is, whenever sender is sending the data, the sender is starting the timer, and it will wait for receiving the acknowledgement within the specified time duration. If within the specified time duration sender does not receive the acknowledgement, sender will send again that frame. Sender will send again that frame. From this, the sender actually sends the data with the specific sequence number. That is another concept that was introduced, the sequence number associated with the frame. With the support of this particular sequence number, from this the sender sends the data with the specified sequence number. So after receiving the data, receivers actually sends the data with that sequence number, that is acknowledgement with that specified sequence number frame. Whenever sender is sending that, the sender is actually expecting that the acknowledgement of the specified same sequence number needs to be available. And this type of scheme is actually known as positive acknowledgement with retransmission. This positive acknowledgement with retransmission, or it's also known as the PAR concept. PAR, positive acknowledgement with retransmission. This positive acknowledgement with retransmission actually gave rise to the development of the protocol specifically for the practical channels. So, are there any queries? I'm waiting for the queries. Are there any doubt, any difficulties? Whatever we have seen for the noise free channel, that is ideal channel. Siddhi, Shreya,
Sir,
huh? Any problem?
no doubt, sir.
No problem. Are you getting this particular concept?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Rucha, Rucha Mali, not attending. Komal, Komal Desai, Megha, Nikhil Patil,
No doubt, sir.
no doubt. I'm happy someone is attending. Aniruddha,
Hello.
what we have studied today?
Hello.
What we have studied today? Yes, Shreya Kodekar, I have a doubt. Who decides the sequence number, sender or receiver? In this particular configuration, at present, we are just thinking about the simplest type of communication. That is, sender is actually sending the data. So, whenever sender is sending the data, sender is actually defining the sequence number. But whenever we are into the next processes, that is the duplex type of communication, where sender also sends the data, receiver also sends the data, then the receiver will generate its own sequence number based on the sequence number. So for the sequence number received, that we are going to study in the next protocols, the practical protocols, the actual practical protocols for noisy channel. Okay, continuing our discussion, we'll go for the practical channels. Typically, this will be the algorithm that will be at the sender's end. Allow the first frame. Wait for the event. Sleep until the event occurs. If event request to send and can't send, then get the data, convert that data into a frame, send that particular frame. If the senders cannot send, then it will be again repeater till sender can send will be is equal to true. But the sender cannot send until acknowledgement arrives. So wait for the event. If event arrival notification provides the arrival of the acknowledgement packet, receive the acknowledgement frame and then generate the second frame, get the data from the network layer, make the second frame and send that particular frame and repeat this loop forever till the amount of data that is to be transmitted is handed over from the network layer to the data link layer. Receiving side algorithm, it will be repeated forever till the events are actually processed. Receive the frame, extract the data, deliver the data and send an acknowledgement. That is a typical procedure that is performed for stop and wait protocol for the noiseless channel. The sender sends one frame, waits for the feedback, the acknowledgement arrives, the sender sends the next frame. That's all is in the flow diagram. Sender sends, gets the request, convert the data into frame. That frame is arrived. When the frame arrived is announced at the receiving end, at the data link layer and handed over to the data link layer at the receiver end. The data link layer at the receiver end will generate the acknowledgement associated with this particular frame. The acknowledgement is dumped into the communication media or sent back to the sender end. Sender receives this acknowledgement of the frame. The arrival of the acknowledgement frame is announced at the sender's data link layer. The sender's data link layer will fetch new data from the network layer and create second frame of data. That particular frame will be dumped into the communication media. Once that frame is arrived at the receiver's end, acknowledgement for this frame will be generated by the data link layer at the receiver's end. This particular acknowledgement is dumped into the communication media and arrival of this particular acknowledgement over a specified time duration is identified at the sender's end, which is handed over to the data link layer. Data link layer will generate the third frame. But this is not always true. The channels are never ideal. Though the stop and wait protocol gives us an idea to provide a proper flow control, the noiseless channels are non-existent. And that's why the practical protocols are the three protocols that we will be studying, which uses a proper error control. The stop and wait automatic repeat request, go back and automatic repeat request, and selective repeat automatic repeat request. Specifically for stop and wait automatic repeat request, what actually done is the sender keeps a copy of the frame and retransmits that particular frame when the timer expires. See, now we have a sender A, we have a receiver B. At the sender's end, sender is generating first frame. The first frame of data is dumped into the communication media. Copy of that particular first frame is kept still at the sender's end, and the sender will start the timer whenever first frame is dumped into the communication media, and it will wait for the acknowledgement of the data within the specified time duration only. And if the acknowledgement of that frame is not received in the specified time duration, then the first frame is retransmitted. So it's a practical channel now. There may be errors at every end, at the source end, at the communication media, at the receiving end. at the interfacing of the transmitter and the communication media in the devices that are used into the communication media and the devices that are used for proper interfacing at the receiving end. See here, the devices, what are the devices that are not at all known to the sender? Sender knows that he is part of the network, so sender can send the particular data. The error correction is provided by keeping a copy of the sent frame in the sender's scratchpad and retransmitting that copy of the frame when the acknowledgement of the initially transmitted first frame is not received within the specified time duration. Make it very clear. Sender is sending the data, at the same instant sender is starting the timer. The data is dumped into the communication media, the frames are received by the receiver is processing that data, the acknowledgement related to the first frame is generated, but that acknowledgement should be received by the sender end within the specified time duration. If within the specified time duration that particular acknowledgement is not received, the same frame is again dumped into the communication. Make it very clear. In the stop and wait, we use the sequence number to number the frames. The sequence numbers are based on modulo 2 arithmetics, that is the specified modulo 2 arithmetic is utilized to name the sequence numbers. The name sequence modulo 2 arithmetic actually provides us the specified digital decimal notation associated with the sequence numbers. So for those specified sequence numbers, we are actually providing the sequence number to the frames. The acknowledgement number always announces the modulo 2 arithmetic, the sequence number of the next frame expected. What is actually this? See this particular stop and wait automatic repeat request. See here the two configurations. At the data frame, we have the sequence number. Make your concepts here very clear. The frame is sent at the sender's end. At the sender's end, the frame is sent. This is the frame. This will consist of the sequence number of that frame, the data, and the trailer. This frame will be received at the receiving end. The receiver at the data link layer will generate the acknowledgement for the specified frame. The acknowledgement for the specified frame, see here, will consist of the acknowledgement number. That means if first sequenced frame is generated, the acknowledgement number will be, sequence number will be 1, acknowledgement number will be 1, and the data, that will be the acknowledgement frame. The acknowledgement frame will consist of the acknowledgement number and the control information that can be processed at the receiving end till the specified time duration. This particular frame will be dumped into the communication media. Once it's dumped into the communication media, timer at the sender's end will start. This timer function will provide the two events, timer start and timer end. If the acknowledgement is not received within the specified time duration, the timer will set off. The timer will set off, and the timer set off will give the indication that the sender needs to retransmit since the acknowledgement of that frame is not received from the receiver. This actually provides us a proper flow control as well as error control. It may happen that there may be an error, and the error, due to that a particular error, the entire frame is not processed properly at the receiving end, and if the processing is not properly done, acknowledgement is not at all generated, and that particular acknowledgement is not at all sent back. It may also happen that there may be a proper improper flow from the sender's end to the receiver's end. So the sender will send with its sequence number, but the receiver is not able to generate that. And that particular acknowledgement, if not received within the specified time duration, all operations at the sender's end are done at the specified time duration. Data is dumped into the communication media and the timer is started. The time duration for which the timer is started is actually providing us whether the frame is entirely processed at the receiving end, whether there will be error. If there is a error, there will be no acknowledgement for the transmitted frame, and that particular frame is redumped into the communication. See the sequences now here. Wait for the event, get data, make frame SN, provide the sequence numbering, store frame, send frame, start the timer. Start the timer. The send frame will be Sn is equal to Sn plus 1. That will be the next frame. The sequence number is Sn. The copy of this particular sequence number is stored at the sender's end. Sn is dumped. Sn is kept at the sender's end. And acknowledgement of that particular Sn needs to be received by the sender's end. Then only Sn plus 1, that is next frame, will be created, and then next frame will be dumped into the communication media. The acknowledgement is generated within the specified time duration. The acknowledgement is received. If it's the valid acknowledgement, receive the acknowledgement and check whether it's a valid type of acknowledgement, giving us the information that there is no error or there is no corruption of the data within the specified time duration. If the acknowledgement is received within the specified time duration, turn off that timer, or the timer will be automatically turned off. The copy of the saved frame is now not needed. So that particular frame which is kept in the memory for retransmission is purged. That is, that particular data is dumped at the sender's end itself. The data is dumped at the sender's end itself. If the timer expires, resend that particular frame. Resend the copy of that particular frame. Make this concept very, very, very clear. That will clear all your design associated with the protocols. It's the sender side algorithm. At the receiver side, the data frame arrives. If sequence number is the specified sequence number which is kept now again at the receiving end, for that particular sequence number, send the acknowledgement number. When the acknowledgement number is generated for the specified sequence number of the frame 0 is sent and the acknowledged, frame 1 is lost and resent after the timeout. I will see the configuration here now. Sender is sending the data, frame 0. Acknowledgement of the frame is generated. frame 0 is arrived, notified SN, that is the sequence number. Sequence number is identified and the receiver will generate the acknowledgement. So it will be 1. When it's arrived, acknowledgement is received, frame 1 will be dumped. If frame 1 is lost into the communication media, the time duration, this will be the time duration. This will be the time duration. Timeout. Within this particular time duration, if the acknowledgement is not at all received, the frame is supposed to be lost into the communication. Since acknowledgement of that frame is not received, frame 1 will be resent, which is kept at the sender's scratchpad memory. Then for frame 1, acknowledgement 0, that will be the sequence number that is generated at the sender's end. This acknowledgement within the specified time duration again, if it arrives, timer is stopped and the next frame is sent. If for the frame 0, acknowledgement is lost, frame 0 is resent. See here, for first event, for this frame 0 is acknowledged. That's why frame 1 is dumped. Frame 1 is lost. Since acknowledgement of the frame 1 is not at all generated from the receiver's end, the sender will not at all receive it. So frame 1 will be retransmitted. If for frame 0, acknowledgement is lost, then frame 0 will be retransmitted within the specified time duration. If the acknowledgement is not received, it's retransmitted. For the certain time duration, after certain time duration, if the acknowledgement is generated, frame 0, here the acknowledgement is received. But if it's not within the specified time duration, frame 0 will be resent. Now the receiver has already received frame 0. So it will identify it based on its sequence number. Since the sequence number is 0, it will discard at the receiving end. Frame 0 is retransmitted, but it's discarded since it's a duplicate frame at the receiving end. That's the second scenario I'm talking about. If this acknowledgement is not received in the specified time duration, then frame 0 will be resent. Acknowledgement of that particular frame 0 will be generated from the receiver and will be sent back within the specified time duration. If it arrives, the acknowledgement arrives in the specified time duration, the frame will not at all be retransmitted. We'll see the typical problems. For a stop and wait automatic repeat request system, the bandwidth of the line is 1 Mbps and 1 bit takes 20 milliseconds to make a round trip. What is the bandwidth delay product? It's simple. If the system data frames are 1000 bits in length, that's the frame size. What is the utilization percentage of the link? The first one is the bandwidth delay product. It's simply 1 megabits per second, 1 into 10 raised to 6 into 20 milliseconds, that is 20 into 10 raised to minus 3. That is bandwidth delay product. So it's 20,000 bits. The 20,000 bits. The system can send 20,000 bits during the time it takes for the data to go from sender to the receiver and back again. However, the system sends only 1000 bits. It's the capability for one frame. So we can say that the link utilization only is 1000 by 20,000, or it's just 5%. For this reason, for a link with a high bandwidth or long delay, the use of stop and wait automatic repeat request wastes the capacity of the link. And that is one of the major drawback associated with this stop and wait automatic repeat request. It wastes the bandwidth capability the system can send 20,000 bits during the time, but the frame size is only 1000. So it's the link utilization. So those 20,000 bits will be divided into the frame size of 1000 bits, and then it will be sent to the or dumped into the communication media. For the same problem, if we continue the same problem, if we have a protocol that can send up to 15 frames before stopping and worrying about the acknowledgement, what is the utilization percentage? The bandwidth delay product is, we know, it's 20k. The system can send up to 15 frames or 15,000 bits, each frame of 1000. In the previous example we have seen, it's the frame size is 1000, so 15 frames will constitute 15,000 bits during a round trip. This means the utilization is 15,000 by 20,000, so it's a 75%. If there are damaged frames, the utilization percentage is much less, because the frames are to be retransmitted. Make it very clear. If the frame is lost at the sender's end, is lost at the sender's media interface, is lost into the communication media, is lost at the communication media receiver interface, that frame needs to be retransmitted. If the number of frames that are damaged into the entire process is very large, the utilization percentage is very less, because all those frames needs to be retransmitted, and that gave rise to the development associated with the go back N type of protocol. The sequence numbers that are defined with this go back N type of protocols are modulo 2 raised to m is the sequence number configuration, where m is the size of the sequences or sequence number field in the bits. What is that? We'll see this. This is actually providing us the frame sent but not at all acknowledged for go back N type of ARQ, address automatic repeat request. Here actually we are utilizing a concept of window, defining a imaginary box of 2 raised to m minus 1 with 3 variables, that is providing us the sequence number, sequence frequency, and sequence size, or the size associated with the frame that is sent from the sender's end. That's why S. The send window can slide one or more slots when a valid acknowledgement arrives. We'll see this particular concept whenever we again see the detailed transmission associated with the data with one single variable. Whenever we are actually utilizing the window, it's known as a sliding window type of protocol. What is that particular sliding? We will cover this entire operation, but at present just clear your concept that is associated with the stop and wait automatic repeat request. This concept must be very clear. I think we'll again take a break for this. Any doubt? Again, I will repeat for stop and wait type of flow control. The sender has to wait for an acknowledgement for every frame that it sends. That's typically for the noiseless channel or the ideal channel. The drawbacks associated with those concept simply stop and wait is only one frame can be sent or one frame will be in transmission at a time, and that's why it's inefficient. If the distance between the devices is long, the reason associated that we are only dumping one particular frame, the propagation delay is much longer than the transmission delay, and the time spent for waiting acknowledgement between each frame can add significant amount to the total transmission, and that's why we are going for more typically for the practical concept. So it gave rise to the sliding window type of flow control. It works by having the sender and receiver have a window of frames. Each frame has to be numbered in relation to the sliding window. For a window size of n, frame gets number from 0 to n minus 1. Subsequent frames gets a number of mod n. So mod 2, mod 3, mod 4, that will be the specified number. The sender can send as many frames as will fit in the window. So the receiver, upon receiving enough frames, will respond with the acknowledgement of all frames up to a certain point in the window. And this is called the sliding of the window. This window can hold the frames at either end and provides the upper limit for the number of frames that can be transmitted before requiring an acknowledgement. We'll again repeat this particular concept. I know in the first attempt you will never understand this particular concept of sliding window, but it's the specified type of flow control. The flow control and the error control. The flow control and the error control, which is very important. It's not at all a error control now. It's a error detection. It's a error detection. That error, if it's detected, the frame needs to be retransmitted, and that's why we'll typically concentrate the concept based on the sliding window specifically for the flow control. This sliding window protocol, that's why it's quite important, is rather the actual concept where we are actually utilizing this. This actually minimizes the redundancy. This actually provides us the check associated with the redundancy. Whenever we are utilizing CRC formation, it's the check. But whenever we are actually talking, the sliding window can be a 1-bit sliding window, can be a go back type of sliding window, or can be a protocol with selective repeat. That means the receiver is not at all receiving, so it will only acknowledgement and those will be only sent. That is the selective repeat. A simplex 1-bit sliding window protocol. This protocol at both the ends will have a buffer size of 1 bit. 1-bit sliding window protocol. Mark these words very carefully. 1-bit sliding window protocol. The sender as well as the receiver will have a buffer size of 1 bit. So only possibility for the sender and receiver to send and receive packet is only 0 and 1. This includes the sequence, acknowledgement and packet number. So it uses full duplex channel. So sender first starts sending the data and receiver start sending data after it receives the data. The receiver and sender both start sending packets simultaneously. And that's the duplex type of communication that's possible in the noisy channel, even if we are properly defining a 1 bit sliding for the protocol. It's the simple protocol. The first case, it's the simple and works perfectly. But there will be an error when sender and receiver starts sending the packets simultaneously. That may be the error that is due to the duplication of the error. Without any transmission error, the duplication of the frames may be possible because the timer propagation delay, due to the propagation delay, the receiver will not at all receive the acknowledgement frame. So the frame will be retransmitted, the frame will be dumped if the receiver finds that it's a duplicate frame, but the sender has to send that since its acknowledgement is not at all received. So I'm ready for the questions. It will be quite clear if you go for this diagram. Go back and automatic repeat request. First outstanding and next to send. These are nothing but the data, the frames that needs to be properly dumped. So at a time, multiple frames will be sent. This frame, this frame, this frame, this frame, these frames, and based on that, the acknowledgement is generated. Acknowledgement generated, whatever for those frames, if the acknowledgement is not at all received, the sender will retransmit it. Go back and if seventh frame is damaged, retransmit seventh frame. If acknowledgement of the seventh frame is not received within the specified time duration, retransmit that. But at the receiving end, duplicate frame needs to be discarded. And this actually is a negotiation in the senders and receiver, and this negotiation is actually reducing the efficiency associated with the frame translation from the senders to the receiver. And if it's a duplex type of configuration, the data may be again generated from the sender, the acknowledgements are received for that data, but the data that is being transmitted from the receiver to the sender end will again have this particular sequencing of the frames that are generated from the receiver, which needs to be sent to the sender's end. It may be a jumbling type of words, but make the concept very, very, very clear. We have a sender, we have a receiver. We are sending the frame, we are sending the specified sequence number of the frame. The receiver is acknowledging the frame and generating the acknowledgement number for the specified frame. If the acknowledgement is not received, it's the retransmission. So that is, if seventh frame is lost or acknowledgement is not generated by the receiver within the specified time duration, if the sender is not receiving the acknowledgement, go back and that means retransmit that particular frame, because the receiver is requesting automatic repeat request of retransmission of that particular frame by not generating the acknowledgement number for the specified sequenced frame. So the sequence number is quite important. The acknowledgement number is quite important. If we are considering only a single bit, then it's the single bit sliding for one particular bit. If it's not received, regenerated. But if the window size consisting of 3 bits, and for those 3 bits the sender will send entire within the specified window size. So multiple frames can be transmitted, multiple frames can be acknowledged, and the data can be sent along with this. The acknowledgement can be piggybacked with the data that is being generated from the sender. And that gave rise to the duplex type of translation of the data from the sender's end to the receiver's end. The first diagram is if the window size is less than 2 raised to n. Here frame 0 is generated, acknowledgement is piggybacked with frame 1 that is generated, then frame 1 is sent. See here 0 first is 0, then it's 0 1, then it's 0 1 2, then again from frame 0 it will be 0 1 2 3, but the 0th frame or third sequenced acknowledgement will be properly discarded since frame 0 is now a duplicate frame. Frame 0 is now a duplicate frame, so it's properly or correctly discarded. If it's not, then it will be erroneously accepted. If the window size is 2 raised to m, it will be erroneously accepted and processed and handed over to the. So it's quite difficult to identify if the window size is almost equal to 2 raised to n, and that's why it's always less than 2 raised to n. Window size is always, that is, if m is 3, that means window size is 8, then window size should be less than 8. Window size should be, if m is 3, then the window size should be less than 8. Window size should not be equal to the modulo 2 arithmetic that is used for providing the sequence numbers. I know it's quite difficult to digest this particular concept at this, but read again and again, then only your concept associated will be quite clear. Why we are going for this sliding window? Sender must wait for either positive acknowledgement from the receiver or timeout to send the next frame. If the sender is ready to send the new data, it cannot send. The sender is dependent on the receiver. The typical flow is only one-sided, means only sender sends the data and receiver just acknowledges it. So the bandwidth that is used is twice the bandwidth that is used, and that's why we are utilizing the sliding window protocol. In this, the sender and receiver use both buffers. The buffer is of same size, and if there is no necessary to wait for the sender to send the second data, it can send one after one without waiting for the receiver's acknowledgement, and it solves the problem of use of more bandwidth, because in this scheme both sender and receiver uses the channel to send the data, and receiver just send the acknowledgement with the data which is the data which receiver wants to send to the sender. So there is no special bandwidth that is used for acknowledgement, and so the bandwidth is saved, and this whole process is known as piggybacking. Piggyback: the receiver is sending the acknowledgement frame along with the data, and that is piggybacking acknowledgement frame with the data. This is the concept associated with the sliding window protocol. Just go through this particular concept. Again, we will be coming to, I will be again repeating, it will be sort of repetition until and unless your concepts are clear. So don't worry about it. Just try to get some concept of sending of the data, receiving of the data. We are utilizing I am referring Furson's book. I am referring the algorithm that are discussed in the Furson's book. Terminology in Stallings book or Tannenbaum book will be somewhat different, but we will follow the Furson's book. All these presentations are available everywhere on the net. These are the presentations from chapter 11 from the Furson's book. Chapter 10 for the Furson deals with the error detection and correction that we have discussed previously. These are the simplest protocols that are developed for a noisy channel so that a proper flow control is maintained in the sender and receiver. The sender and receiver will properly understand the concepts associated with the sliding of the data, in turn which may provide a proper error correction. The error may be occurring. If the error occurs, acknowledgement of that data cannot be generated. That in turn will also indicate that a retransmission of that particular error or erroneous frame is necessary. There may be the various types of checksums. There may be horizontal redundancy check, vertical redundancy check, a checksum polynomial that we have seen last time. A checksum polynomial, send that particular polynomial as the frame check sequence, divide the data, incoming data at the source end, add the reminder that will add the frame check sequence at the receiving end, receive the entire data if the error is occurring due to the channel. If one of the bit changes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, even if for a single bit the error will be generated and the polynomial will not at all be verified. If the polynomial is not at all verified at the receiving end, that means there is an error. This is typically a cyclic redundancy type of check. It's a binary division. A sequence of the typical selection criteria for the polynomial may be it should not be one bit. If it's one bit, then it will be a parity. There will be no difference in between parity and this. It should not be also very small so that the amount of data along with the divisor or along with the remainder will be again quite large. So that again, if the large amount of data is to be transmitted, then there happens to or there bounds to be error. That actually defines selection criteria for the cyclic redundancy code generator. The good generator actually always contains a multiple of x, say typically a CRC32. CRC32 will always detect all types of errors in the network. That's why normally in the data network, cyclic redundancy code 32-bit cyclic redundancy code is used for ideal network error detection. And when the errors are detected, errors needs to be corrected. So no acknowledgement of the error frames will be generated. So retransmission of the data happens. The retransmission of the data will happen at the damaged frames or the lost frames or the lost acknowledgement. For the lost acknowledgement, the data is generated by the sender, the frame is generated by the sender, the frame is received by the sender, but acknowledgement generated by the receiver, the acknowledgement is still generated, but it is lost into the communication media. That is, it is not received by the sender. So if the acknowledgement, even if that is generated by the receiver, dumped into the communication media, but not received by the sender, retransmission is provided, and that will give rise to the duplication of the frame. So the receiver also needs to identify whether the frame 0 or frame 5, if frame 5 is accepted, given for the processing, acknowledgement is generated, but that acknowledgement is not received by the sender, then sender will again send that frame 5. The frame 5 will be arrived at the receiving end, but the sequence number associated with the frame 5 is already being processed. This particular frame 5 that is received at the receiving end will be discarded, being a duplicate frame. Make it very clear, retransmission of the data happens in 3 different cases: damaged frame, lost frame, and lost acknowledgement. So stop and wait automatic repeat request includes retransmission of the data in case of lost or damaged frame. It is the basic flow control mechanism with retransmission. The timeout period is typically the must be greater than the round trip time. That means sender is sending the data, receiver is acknowledging it. For the starting frame, if the receiver acknowledgement frame is again received by the sender end, that particular time is known as a round trip time. So timeout period for the timer must be greater than the round trip time. If an error is discovered in the data frame, the data frame is supposed to be lost in transit. So no acknowledgement frame is returned, which are numbered, telling the sender to retransmit that lost frame which was sent. In the duplex type of communication or a bidirectional type of communication where sender as well as receiver sends the data, the acknowledgement associated with the sender's data, the acknowledgement frames are piggybacked by the sender with the sender's data, so that both a duplex type of communication will be possible in between sender and the receiver. This particular concept, piggybacking, is quite important. The outstanding acknowledgements then can be placed as the header of the information frames. This particular piggybacking actually saves the bandwidth, since the overhead for the data frame and an acknowledgement frame can be combined in just one frame. Again, I am discussing it. One frame is sent from the sender. Acknowledgement frame is generated by the receiver. If it sends the acknowledgement frame, the sender has to wait till that acknowledgement. But if the receiver piggybacks this particular frame along with the data that needs to be sent from the sender to the receiver in a bidirectional communication. The acknowledgement frame can be combined into just one frame. That is the data from the receiver and acknowledgement from the receiver in just one frame, which actually saves the bandwidth. And that's why this particular piggybacking concept is why very important for the duplex type of communication. Are there any doubts? You can switch on your mic. I'm waiting for the questions. There may be a lot of problems. If it's the classroom teaching, you can get the concept right from the blackboard. Now we have to take the concept from the PowerPoint presentation. I will also show you the animations associated with this particular data. Okay, in today's practical, I will show you the animations associated with all these automatic repeat request. In that animation, you will get the concept quite clear one for these basic protocols that are designed at the data link layer. I'm waiting for the questions. The window size actually defines the bandwidth. That is, a sender may send multiple frames as allowed by this particular window size. So if multiple frames are transmitted and all the frames are properly received, a single acknowledgement can be generated for all those frames. That's the optimum utilization associated with the error-free communication. The error-free communication actually defines some of the concepts or some of the terminologies associated with the data communication. These are typically elementary data link protocols: stop and wait protocol, simplex protocol. Simplex protocol for noisy channel. If we are utilizing simplex protocol for noisy channel, we have previously seen it for noiseless channel. But if it's for noisy channel, the sender will not at all get the information of the lost frames. Simplex, we are simply dumping the frames from the sender end to the receiver end. So there will be always a timeout, there will be always a error, some of the frames will be lost. So the entire data will not at all be recovered. If we see the simplex protocol and stop and wait protocol. So the stop and wait protocol actually waits for the acknowledgement. But in practical cases, we need to have a proper flow control. This may be achieved due to a 1-bit sliding or a 3-bit sliding protocol, or a protocol using a go back N, or a selective reject type of protocol. These are all the elementary data link protocols. The sliding window protocol, the sliding window flow control, 1-bit sliding window, 3-bit sliding window, a protocol using go back N, and a protocol selective reject. And these concepts of elementary data link protocols are utilized in HDLC, which is one of the practical protocol that is based on the data link layer, or the type of protocol that we are presently utilizing for our broadband concept, That is the point-to-point protocol. Though the protocol name nowadays is PPPoE, point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. But this point-to-point protocol, whether it's for the optical fiber, whether it's for the leased line, whether it's even for the dial-up type of networking, it's the point-to-point protocol that we are utilizing, which is the high-level data link control protocol, which is utilizing some of the concepts that are defined in the elementary data link protocols. Either switch on your mic or just type your queries in the chat window. Sumit Valsankar.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you have any query?
No, sir. It was it's network issue. Then I'm quite disconnecting and connecting. It's happening. So
It will be always better if you have a good connection. Which is your connection?
it's Airtel, but sir, here quite weather is not cool. So
Okay.
पावसाचं थोडं वातावरण झाले त्यामुळे सर रेंज नाहीये सारखं कनेक्ट डिस्कनेक्ट होतंय.
I will be uploading the video. Previous videos I have not recorded, but today's video I am recording today's session. I will be uploading to our Moodle as well as to our Google Classroom today's video.
Okay, sir.
Rucha Mali, Rohit Dhavre, don't just be attend, just join the session, keep the video on, keep the mics blocked, keep the video off. It's not the way to interact in the class. Rohit Dhavre, if you don't attend, I will mark your absentee for next 3 lectures.
हॅलो येस सर
कुठे होतास?
इथेच होतो सर.
तिथेच आहे. ओके, आपण काय शिकलो आज? What we have learned today?
सर प्रोटोकॉल सर.
Which protocols? Which protocols we have seen today?
सर आवाज येतोय सर माझा? हॅलो
Yes.
हॅलो
Yes. Which protocols we have studied today?
सर तुमचा आवाज नाही सर.
बाकीच्या सगळ्यांना येतोय आवाज, तुझाच येत नाहीये. गुड. एक 100 रुपयाचा हँडसेट घ्यावा चांगला, मोबाईलला जोडावा, या आजूबाजूचे आवाज त्याच्यात येत नाहीत. How you will attend your interview? सुरेखा पवार, सुरेखा पवार, पायल कवठेकर, Both. Sureka Pawar, Payal Gautekar, both are not responding. What's the use?
Yes, sir.
Payal, what we have studied. Yes, Payal, what we have studied today. Rohit Dhabre, noise and noiseless channels. We have studied the protocols for the elementary protocols for data link layer for noisy and noiseless channels. Okay. Payal Kautekar is again not responding. Akanksha Kapre. Okay. आकांक्षा कापरे टर्मिनल चालू ठेवून गायब झाली. अनुराग चौधरी. Day by day, I'm getting frustrated because of the response that I'm getting for the online lectures. We will stop here only. In today's practical, we'll see the sharing of the data from one terminal to another terminal, and we'll also see the animations associated with the basic data link layer protocol. Again, I want to add something associated with your teacher's assessment, TA marks. For this TA marks, can anyone put what is expected in the teacher's assessment? What you have done for the previous TAs up to third year teacher's assessment? For our subject CCN, I think the teacher's assessment, for teacher's assessment, the task will be to prepare a short video of 6 to 8 minutes. You have to prepare two videos. The two videos will cover one, the basic concept, the one topic from our curriculum, and another topic which is advanced, which is not at all included in our regular curriculum. So you have to prepare these two videos based on the one topic from our, and it will not at all be a repetition. So I will assign the topic to everyone, one topic from your curriculum, one topic from any one subtopic in our entire curriculum, and one topic from the advanced networking concept, that is the practical concept which will be useful to us in our practical life, even if not in the curriculum. We are almost finishing our third unit, so it's time to go for teacher's assessment. You can prepare your video using the PowerPoint concept, or you can utilize any open source software for creating the videos which will include the PowerPoint, which will not at all be just talking in the video mode. It will also include the presentation plus video. It will not be simply presentation and audio. It will be presentation plus video. For this, you have 1 month. So up to 24th September, you have to create and submit in our Google Classroom. Create the video, 2 videos, one from the basic topic and one from the advanced topic, which is out of curriculum, but needed for our computer network. You can go for, say, the practical aspects of the computer communication, say the Cisco network, say the Cisco tracer, network tracer, one particular software. You can discuss that particular software, which will be helpful for all of us, for your friends as well as for all of us. Are you getting the assignment for teachers assessment, TA? You have 10 marks for it. 15, 15, 10, 60. That's the typical marks distribution. 60 marks for end-sem examination, 15 marks for test 1. For test 1, syllabus unit 1 and unit 2, it may be declared anytime, so start preparing from unit 1 and unit 2. Both videos should be of 7 to 8 minutes. It's not that, including 2 videos, it's the thorough discussion and a professional video creation. It should not be just, I am giving you an entire 1 month for this. Try to find out the softwares. The simplest software I am giving you, use PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint version 2012 above, or Office 13, Office 16, Office 19. In that you can include your videos along with the presentation. Or you can utilize any open source software for creating these 2 videos. For avoiding the repetition, I will allocate one single topic for one student. The topic, subtopic will not at all be repeated at all. No 2 students will have same subtopic from our curriculum. I will divide it into, say, 65 subtopics, and you have to create your own video, so there will not be a duplicacy. This particular exercise will also help you in learning the concept in short videos. That short video may also include the demonstration associated with the animation for understanding the concept in a better way. Whatever I am telling you, along with that, by just viewing that video, a short video, you will get the entire concept of that subtopic. So it may be a repetition, what I am considering, plus your video. So that will help you in just finishing. My concept is studying the computer communication. Yeah, it may be a whiteboard presentation with video. Neeraj Andure is asking, sir, whiteboard presentation चालेल का instead of PowerPoint? Okay, whiteboard presentation but with video. But with video. The concept is just identify the subtopic, learn something from the standard book, refresh your knowledge again by viewing this video. So your entire concept will be very clear. These videos I will be sharing, all those videos will be available to everyone. So for lifelong learning, all those videos will be with you. Those will be uploaded to our Google platform. Those will be also available on our Moodle platform. At the same time, so all the videos will be available in YouTube domain also. So it will be made public. Be prepared, prepare properly professional videos. Anything you want to ask associated with this? So we'll finish up the 10 marks before 24th September. In the meantime, there may be your test 1 or test 2 also within the span of 1 month. Be prepared for that. For test 2, unit 3 and unit 4 will be curriculum. For test 1, unit 2. The formats will be communicated to you in the due course, either by your class teacher, or you will get the notice from head of the department. Any doubt regarding TA? That particular marking will be entirely impartial. You will know your test 1, test 2 marks immediately, plus TA marks before going for ESA. It's not that always 8-minute video is required. It may be 6 to 8 minutes depending on your topic. But that short video should cover complete topic, whether the theory concept, whether the problems that are associated, or whether it may be an animation. I think I will stop and I will upload the video till evening in our Google Classroom.